Good morning, everyone.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Meditation Minyan. I'm Rabbi Hannah Leslie Glazer of Congregation at Dat Reim. We welcome you. So we are in kind of an interesting time spiritually. We are officially this week entering into the run-up to the high holidays. In our Saturday services, we've already been reading specific haftarot that are meant to be getting us ready for the holidays, special readings that we have on Saturdays. But we're also entering this weekend into the month of Elul, the Hebrew calendar month of Elul. It's the last month of the Jewish year, but it's also a time that the rabbis set aside as preparing oneself spiritually for the high holidays. Some people will do that by sounding the shofar, and there's a practice that you can sound shofar anytime during Elul, and that's welcome. There are other spiritual practices that people take on, and I'm going to share one of them with you, and we're going to be doing a series on it. So it is a prayer. So one of the things that is common over the course of Elul is to recite what's known as slichot prayers. I'm going to put that in the chat. Slichot. There it is. And you may recognize that's also the name of kind of a holiday that we celebrate on the Saturday before Rosh Hashanah. But slichot itself is a service that we do that is for kind of considering the teshuvah, thinking about doing teshuvah, thinking about what are the things that we need to do to prepare ourselves spiritually, and starting to get active with that. So I'm also going to put another link into the chat. And there's a specific prayer that's kind of a key anchor prayer, and you may know it. It's called the 13 Attributes of Mercy, and the Hebrew of it goes Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun. Probably heard that before. It's usually sung, and it is what we would call an anchor prayer of the Slichot service when it is said, anytime it is said. So what I would like to do, so the words that are in that prayer come out of the book of Exodus, and it has to do with what was said when after the golden calf incident and in the desert, and the people had betrayed God. And so then there is this statement about God as being forgiving. And it's not entirely clear grammatically whether it's God making that statement or Moses making that statement, but the statement is made, and it includes basically saying God is forgiving and God is going to forgive this. And it is the 13 attributes of mercy. And so when we approach the high holidays, that is actually the piece that we take with us as we are trying to think about the things that we need to forgive and how we also want to prepare ourselves to ask for forgiveness. So what I'm thinking of as a series, it's a little similar to how we were handling the Omer, that I'd like to take one of the attributes each week that I'm going to be leading. If we're going to have lay leaders leading, they can either take that attribute or take another attribute or not. But I'll be doing that, and we'll be exploring each of those attributes and trying to understand how they're all different. What I love about these 13 attributes of mercy is that you might think of mercy as just one thing, but there's actually a lot of pieces to it. So we're going to be looking at that over the course of our series. And as I said, as with the Sfirot that we counted and we discussed at the time of the Omer, these attributes of mercy are ones that we invite God to express towards us, and that we believe God expresses towards us and holds us in, but also ones that we can be expressing ourselves towards God, towards other people, as we prepare for the holidays and the making of Teshuvah. So I would like to start. The first one that I'm going to start with is Chanun. And it's the second one in the list, Chanun. And it is, the word root is chen, which means grace. And I'm going to type that word into the chat, Chanun. And it means grace. It means love. It means graciousness. It's a kind of a multivalent word, as many spiritual terms in Hebrew are. And as I said, it's also the word root for the name Hannah, and which is my name. And it is a just kind of an interesting term to be exploring, given most times when we talk about grace in Judaism, we might be thinking of it in more of like a Christian context. We don't use the word grace a lot in Judaism in English, but it actually shows up everywhere in Hebrew when you start looking for it. So chen and chanun are words that terms we're going to be exploring today. All right, so we'll start our meditation. I'm going to invite you to get comfortable in your seat. Let your shoulders relax. Do a scan of the body, the neck, the jaw, the eyes, forehead, shoulders, and upper back, belly, and lower back, arms and hands. So as you go through each body part, just check and see if there's any tension there, and if you can release that tension as we go along. You may wish to breathe into those spots of tension to bring some extra oxygen in there. And we've got the hips and the legs and the feet. Just notice your breath, whether your breath is long or short, where you are now. See if you can slow down the breath a little bit by making your out breath a little longer than your in breath. So helping the mind relax. Start to let go. So we're going to be exploring the concept of chen, of grace, graciousness, loving grace. Lots of different ways that it gets expressed in English. I like to think of it as being given something just because, not necessarily something that we've earned, maybe something we haven't earned. Something that we are given that is supportive and wonderful and great. And you may have something in your mind that you're thinking about right now. When you think of grace, of chen. Something you've been given that helps you connect with a greater sense of there being something greater than oneself. We don't have to call it God. All kinds of other words people use, like the universe or different ideas. Sometimes we can picture grace as our appreciation for a particular thing that we've been given that is recognizably ours. Or really thinking about the feeling of grace, the feeling of being in grace. What does it feel like to be held in grace? And you can explore that too. And then the final thought of exploration is to think about how does it feel to offer grace to other people? A couple of different options, different ways you could go in this meditation, or of course, different route of your own choosing. We're going to have about 6 more minutes of silence, and then I will come back and bring us back in. Enjoy your silent time. Start fingers and toes, deepening your breath. Opening your eyes and coming back to the room when you're ready. And I'm excited to explore these 13 attributes of mercy with you over the course of our time together and over the next several weeks, because we can actually continue through the holidays as well. So looking forward to that. Thanks again for joining us. See you next week.